maybe you can help me. There's something very funny going on around here. It all began when I read a really wonderful story about Inspector Birdseye, the greatest detective that ever lived. He was able to solve mysteries that even Scotland Barnyard couldn't figure out. Well, I decided I sure would like to be like him. So do you know what I did? I decided to open my own detective agency. And here's what happened. But before I start my story, I want to tell you about a special sound. When you hear that sound, turn the page of your book. Want to hear it again? Okay, are you ready? Now turn to the first page of the story. That's the page where you see a picture of Cookie Monster and Oscar the Grouch talking to each other. Did you find it? Good. Now let me tell you the story. It was my first day on the job at Inspector Big Bird's detective agency, and what I needed most of all was a case to solve. That's when I saw Oscar and Cookie Monster talking by Oscar's trash can. As I walked over to see if they knew of any good mysteries, I overheard Cookie say,
"Oh, me cupcakes gone. Me cupcakes are all gone. Me not believe it. The best coconut fudge cupcakes me ever had. And now they all gone."
"What a mystery," said Oscar. What luck! This sounded like a perfect case for Inspector Big Bird. "Don't worry about a thing," I assured Cookie Monster. "Inspector Big Bird will get to the bottom of this mystery in no time."
"Oh, me no worry,"
he started to say as I interrupted him. "I'm so sure I'll find out what happened to your missing cupcakes that I'll buy you a whole new box from Hooper's store if I don't solve the mystery for you. What do you say to that?"
"You buy me whole new box of cupcakes?"
Cookie asked.
"Oh, me very happy, Big Bird. Me do whatever you say. Where you start looking for cupcakes,
Let's see. As Inspector Birdseye would say, never fall for the obvious solution. That rules out Cookie Monster as the culprit, especially since he's the victim in this case. I'll begin by questioning the witnesses, I announced as I knocked on Oscar's can. "What's all the banging about, Inspector Birdbrain?" Oscar answered in a not very friendly way. "Where were you when Cookie Monster's coconut fudge cupcakes vanished?" I asked. "In my trash can, minding my own business. That's something you wouldn't know much about, Turkey," he answered. Inspector Birdseye always says the hostile witness has something to hide. I decided I'd better question Oscar some more. "Did you happen to see the coconut fudge cupcakes in question?" I asked. "Maybe I did, and maybe I didn't. What's it to you?" he replied. Still hostile, I noticed. "Do you mind if I search your trash can?" I asked. Much to my surprise, Oscar began singing a different tune. "You want to stick your beak in my trash can? Sure, go ahead. Be my guest." "Thanks, Oscar," I said. "No problem. In fact, let me know if you see anything you'd like. Not letting you have it will be my pleasure." Can you guess what I found in there? I found an empty coconut fudge cupcake box with bits of fudge still sticky around the edges. Did Oscar eat the box of coconut fudge cupcakes? I wondered. Never. Grouches hate cupcakes. As Inspector Birdseye would say, the one with the dirty wingtips isn't always our bird. So I closely inspected the cupcake box. looking for other clues. That's when Cookie got very upset.
Just like me say, Big Bird, cupcakes all gone. Now you don't buy cupcakes for me after all.
Cookie started to ask, but I was too busy thinking about the evidence to worry about a new box of cupcakes. Something is missing, I said. There is some important piece of information I must have overlooked. Yeah, something's missing, all right, Oscar told me. What's missing is your tiny bird brain. Why don't you start trying to figure out where you left that? Enough of this. It's time to question the other witness, I announced. So I turned to Cookie Monster and asked, Cookie, where were you when the cupcakes vanished?
Me right here, Big Bird. Me right here by Oscar's can.
He replied helpfully. I see, I assured him. And exactly when did you see the cupcakes last?
Me see cupcakes right before they disappear.
Cookie answered. Do you remember what you were doing when the cupcakes disappeared?
What me doing? Oh, that's easy. Me eating. Me just sitting by Oscar's can, eating, when whole box of coconut fudge cupcakes disappeared.
Just one more question. Did you see anyone suspicious around here at the time the cupcakes disappeared?
Suspicious? No. Me no see anybody suspicious. Me just sitting by Oscar's can.
Cookie continued. Notice that we keep winding up right back at Oscar's can, I said. For crying out loud. If you ask me, the one who's acting suspicious around here is you, Oscar shouted. Now I thought maybe we were onto something. So I asked Oscar if perhaps he had seen someone suspicious at the time the cupcakes disappeared. Sure, he replied. I saw a large blue fuzzball stuffing his face with cupcakes. That's what I saw, Oscar admitted. Now we were getting somewhere. Aha, I said.
Oh, you know buy me cupcakes now for sure,
Cookie said. But I brushed him aside. I was much too worried about what Oscar told us. I tried to explain. Don't you know what this means? I asked. There is obviously some large blue intruder on the loose on Sesame Street, and we have to find him and stop him in his tracks. Oh, brother, I can't believe this, Oscar groaned. Do you have something on your mind, Oscar? I asked. Some important piece of evidence you've been keeping to yourself? Perhaps you recognize the large blue fuzzball you saw. Is that it, Oscar? You're looking right at him, Feather Pile. Aha! Oscar confessed, just as I suspected all along. It was you, Oscar. You are the cupcake culprit, I cried. Me? Why would I steal cupcakes, Inspector Colorblind? You can't fool me, I told him. I'll bet you dressed up in a fuzzy blue costume and stole the cupcakes just so you could add the cupcake box to your trash collection. You're out of your tree, Oscar said, slamming the lid to his trash can behind him. He's pretty touchy about something, I said to Cookie Monster. But there's one thing I don't understand. When Inspector Birdseye confronts his suspect, they always confess. So if Oscar isn't the culprit, and there aren't any strangers loose on Sesame Street, who could have taken the cupcakes? Well, I hate to admit it, Cookie Monster, but I'm really stumped.
You buy me new box of cupcakes now?
Cookie asked.
You take Cookie Monster to hook
Cookie and I walked over to Hooper's store, and I bought him his brand new box of cupcakes. But I still couldn't get my mind off the cake. I knew I could catch this cupcake fiend if I had just one or two more clues and a little more time. I had this funny feeling he must have been around here somewhere. I wondered what Inspector Birdseye would do with a case like this. Just when I was on the brink of despair, Cookie interrupted me.
Look, Big Bird, coconut fudge cupcakes gone again. You just buy whole brand new box and cupcakes gone again. Just like that.
I was so happy I couldn't believe my ears. This is great, I said. I'll solve the case this time. Don't you worry, Cookie. I'll find him, or I'll buy you more coconut fudge cupcakes. As we started to retrace our steps, looking for clues, I heard Oscar muttering, "That turkey couldn't find his way out of a feather bed. But on the bright side, think how many empty cupcake boxes I'll get before this investigation is over." So, what do you think? Do you know who stole the cupcakes? I sure wish I could figure it out. There will always be mysteries to solve. Just get someone who understands the clues. If you've lost a missing person, let me look for him or her so no one needs to worry now or sing the blues. Suppose a grouch is looking for some trash. I can find it in any quantity and deliver it so quickly, wrapped in boxes that are prickly. I'm a bird who does his work triumphantly. Detective Bird here, unperturbed here.
Me can't wait until me get another box of cupcakes.
I'll get them, Cookie.
Oh, me love mystery.
There will always be mysteries to solve. I can find the solution 'cause I'm quick. But the biggest mystery in all of history is what makes Big Bird tick. An astute observation, my dear Oscar. That will be my next case. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. If Maria said good morning every day,
That not seem unusual to me.
and if Elmo said that he would like to play, that wouldn't seem unusual to me. But sometimes something happens in your experience. If you wonder why it happened, 'cause it really shouldn't happen, then you have to tell yourself it doesn't make much sense when the ocean waves roll up to meet the sand. It doesn't seem unusual to me.
Of course not.
When the clouds deposit water on the land.
That's nature working perfectly.
But if something happens when it shouldn't, how can you explain it? It's just unusual, unusual, it's unusual. Oscar had a very interesting day today. He started out having a wonderful time doing the strangest things. Suddenly, everything went wrong. Then, just as suddenly, It was wonderful again. But before I start my story, I want to tell you about a special sound. When you hear that sound, turn the page of your book. Want to hear it again? Okay, are you ready? Now turn to the first page of your book. That's the page where you see a picture of me sitting in my nest drinking a cup of cocoa. Did you find it? Good. Now let me tell you the story. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. Early this morning, as I was drinking my birdseed cocoa, I heard Oscar singing the alphabet song and getting all the letters right. I couldn't believe my ears. Oscar always sings the alphabet song all wrong and then laughs. I was so curious, I didn't even finish my cocoa. I went to see why Oscar sounded cheerful instead of grouchy. When I got to his can, I couldn't believe my ears or my eyes. Not only was Oscar singing the alphabet song, but his fur was all neatly washed and combed, and he was wearing a tie. And that's not all. Oscar the Grouch was watering flowers, planted in neat little boxes, all along a brand new picket fence in front of his can. Oscar, I said, what on earth are you doing? Why, I'm just watering my lovely flowers, he replied. Isn't this a beautiful day? I was flabbergasted. Oscar the Grouch had said lovely and beautiful. Then I noticed that he'd shined his trash can and swept the sidewalk, too. There wasn't a piece of trash in sight. He also had a new doormat with the word welcome on it in great big letters. Before I could ask Oscar if he was feeling all right, Cookie Monster appeared, pulling a big wagon piled high with boxes.
Dum-de-dum-dum-dum-dum. Oscar,
Cookie said.
me bring you coconut raspberry cookies, peppermint marshmallow eclairs, cinnamon apple turnovers, apricot honey donuts, 2 chocolate meringue cakes, and a strawberry rhubarb pie. You want me to help you put them away?
How kind, Oscar answered politely. Thank you, Cookie Monster. So, even more curious and confused, I watched while they went back and forth, putting away cakes and cookies and donuts.
We put cookies together on big platter right here, and eclairs over there.
Cookie was saying when I got another surprise. I leaned over to look into the trash can and discovered that all Oscar's broken, messy, junky, grouchy things were fixed and polished and tidied until Oscar's home looked just like anybody else's. When they had finished unloading the wagon, Cookie Monster said,
Now, me go get some prune tarts, banana macaroons, and maybe some peach ice cream, and a lemon and raisin layer cake or 2, maybe, huh?
That would be nice, Cookie Monster, Oscar answered.
Oh, believe me, it's better than nice. It's delicious. Bye-bye.
Oscar, I said when Cookie had gone. Yes, Big Bird? How may I help you? You can help me by explaining what's going on, I told him. I'd be happy to, he said, actually smiling at me. My brother, Ernest the Grouch, wants to come visit me for a few days, and I don't like Ernest. In fact, I can't stand him. understood. I see, Oscar. You're doing all these ungrouchy things so your brother won't like staying with you. That's right, said Oscar. That's why I'm washed and combed and singing the alphabet song and borrowing yucky food from Cookie Monster and practicing being polite. Stuff like that will make Ernest feel awful. Oscar told me all of the things he had done in his trash can. I imagined what it would look like with real soap in Oscar's bathroom instead of the cake of mud that was usually there, and with nice sheets on the bed and regular fluffy pillows instead of the pillowcase full of rocks Oscar kept in his guest room. He fixed the television, too. Now it only got Mr. Rogers. He even changed his doorbell so it sounded nice. Listen, this'll be the first thing Ernest hears when he gets here and pushes the button. He'll hate it. Then Cookie Monster returned with more food.
Now me make big picture of lemonade.
Cookie was saying when the telephone rang. And Oscar went inside to answer it. My goodness, Cookie, I said. You're acting as strange as Oscar, lending him cookies and donuts and ice cream.
Oh, Grouch does not eat Cookie Monster food.
He told me.
Me get it all back when Oscar's brother go home.
Suddenly, we heard Oscar yelling. He didn't sound polite anymore. Razzle-frack, rats and rubbish. What rotten luck! He popped up, still yelling. That was Ernest on the telephone. He changed his mind. He's not coming. I made my trash can all neat and clean and tidy and planted these silly flowers and fixed my television and borrowed Cookie Monster's yucky food for nothing. I feel awful.
Well,
said Cookie Monster.
me guess me might as well eat cookies, eclairs, donuts, cakes, tarts, macaroons, and ice cream me bring for you. Oh, and the strawberry rhubarb pie.
Sure. Go ahead, said Oscar miserably. Have a wonderful time.
Oh, me will, Oscar. Maybe you have wonderful times too, messing up can like before. Ha ha ha.
All at once, Oscar perked up again. You're right. Why didn't I think of that? I'll make it even messier than before, and you can help. With that, he pulled Cookie Monster into the trash can and began throwing macaroons and ice cream and cakes in after him. Okay, start eating,
Oh, no, no, oh, cow, bunga.
shouted Cookie Monster. Oscar got right to work, breaking his brand new picket fence, scattering his nice little garden, and scuffing and denting his shiny trash can all over, all the while saying, terrific, what a mess. When he finished with the outside, Oscar joined Cookie Monster inside. And between the two of them, they unfixed, untidied, and unpolished everything else. Cookie Monster scattered crumbs and bits of paper and cardboard everywhere as he gobbled mounds of food.
Oh, no, no, oh, cow, bunga.
And Oscar ripped and tore and banged and battered his way from one end of his trash can to the other. He didn't miss anything. He even remembered to change his doorbell. And when they were done, Cookie Monster said,
See, Oscar, you can look worse than ever. And We both had wonderful times. Ha ha ha.
Later that afternoon, I saw Oscar again. He looked very unhappy. Oscar, I said, what's wrong?
What's wrong? Ernest decided to come visit me after all. And he loves my trash can now that I've got it all wrecked and messy again. That's what's wrong. I'm going down to the dump.
Poor Oscar. Well, didn't I tell you Oscar had a very interesting day today? First he'll say he's coming,
And then he won't.
or he'll say to do it,
And then say don't.
what a peculiar sort of mind. Don't ever trust a crowd. He will come to dinner, then grumpily ask for breakfast
With onion tea.
What a unique experience. Don't ever trust the crowd. Try telling a funny story.
Grouches always hate them.
Yeah, we're in the category of those who don't appreciate them.
Truthfully, you tell him that he should change.
Learn to be more pleasant.
He'll call you
Strange.
what a bewildering way of life. Don't ever trust the,
You can't adjust the.
don't ever trust the crowd. You really can't trust the crowd, can you?
True, but of course you can trust me.
Let the tape run to the end before you turn off the machine. Then you can turn it over and play it again whenever you want to. Bye-bye.